But we do want to make Justin happy, who asked the question about curtailing the violence situation.
Oh, curtailing the
so
violence.
Let's go back to that.
Yeah,
if we may.
absolutely. Look, there's long-term and short-term reasons. To really curtail violence in this country, we've got to make our education system work so that every 17-year-old graduates with a chance of getting a good job. Almost nobody commits violence except crimes of passion if they've got a good job. So that's number one. In the short run, we need more police on the streets. And that's one of the things that the Obama stimulus plan gives to cities, the ability to hire more police. When Bill Clinton produced the crime bill, we went in Philadelphia when I was mayor from 6,100 police to 7,100 police, and our crime rate, violent crime rate, dropped precipitously.
So even though cities like Philadelphia all across the country are facing this budget crunch, they still need to come up with the dollars for education and police.
There's no question. And again, they're getting a big help in both scores from the Obama stimulus.
Do they have to relinquish something to get those two things?
Not in the short run because of the stimulus plan. Over the long run, maybe yes, but hopefully growth will return and revenues will go up, so they won't have to relinquish something. But right now, the problem is in a crisis situation, and the mayor, I know he will take advantage of every stimulus dollar that the Obama administration gives the city.
Now, of course, we did give you the opportunity to ask questions via Facebook, and I did say it could be any topic. Some of these are of a more national, broader perspective. Others are very specific. This next question is a Pennsylvania-related question. It's from Jared. He asked, why can't you get the legislature to enact a law that will give Philadelphia home rule when it comes to gun control? Now, it doesn't matter where you live. Everyone has an opinion on gun control, so let's get yours.
Well, this is an interesting question, and I'm sure it's played out in other states. When I was mayor, we had the right to have our own rules and regulations governing guns. But in 1996, the legislature, and it's their constitutional right, preempted cities from having their own gun laws in a piece of legislation. It's bad legislation. It's unfair. Pennsylvania is really 6 different regions, and they all have distinct heritages and customs and distinct problems. The state should allow Philadelphia to enact its own gun laws. Why doesn't it? Because too many members of the legislature, a majority, are under the thumb of the NRA. It's as simple as that, Lynn. And the NRA...
Well, that's not exclusive to Pennsylvania.
No, it's virtually everywhere.
But it's certainly huge in Pennsylvania.
Think about Washington, D.C. Think about Washington, D.C. We had a ban against assault weapons. Now, I don't know if your viewers have ever seen an assault weapon in action. When I was in the Army, they brought us out to the rifle range, which is about 1,000 yards, and 8 drill sergeants set up along the 1,000 yards with an M16, which is an assault weapon. And they opened fire with tracer bullets. It was at nighttime. And they said after, they just fired for a minute, they said in that 1 minute, if it was the Korean War and the Chinese army had those banzai attacks, they would have killed, in that 1 minute, they would have killed 6,000 soldiers if they had come on the plane trying to get to our lines. Now, no one needs an assault weapon to hunt. No one needs an assault weapon to protect their home. And yet the Congress of the United States didn't have the courage to continue the ban on assault weapons that started during the Clinton presidency. And now there's no ban on assault weapons in this country. We're nuts. I'm all for hunters' rights, and I've expanded hunters' rights, and we've given state land and opened them up to hunting. And I think hunting's a wonderful sport and a tradition and something that mothers and fathers can share with their kids. But there's no need for those type of guns, and Philadelphia should have the right to have its own gun laws.
Now, of course, when you talk about guns, I think most people will agree in this country it's too easy to get a gun.
No question.
There does not seem to be a standardized form of getting a gun in this country, and it doesn't seem like there's a way to stop the straw purchases or
there is a way.
The guns coming in.
There is a way.
It doesn't matter where you live. There's too many guns on the street.
If we passed a national law that said you or me or any individual was entitled to purchase no more than 1 handgun. We're not talking about rifles or shotguns. One handgun a month. Now think about that,
That's
Lynn.
still
That's
12.
12 a year. If you're married, that's 24. who needs 24 handguns in their homes? It's not a big inconvenience to ordinary people, but it stops that straw purchaser who needs to buy 10 at a time to sell in the street. It's simple, and yet the NRA continues to resist, and as a result, only a few states have one gun a month laws.
Well, we're going to ask our viewers what they think about that. You can certainly email me your opinions on gun control and the idea of limiting the number of handguns specifically that an individual could purchase in a month. If you want to do that, the email address is at the bottom of the screen. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more of your questions and more of mine of Governor Ed Rendell. Stay with us.
Lynn Doyle's jewelry provided by David Craig Diamonds and Fine Jewelry, Newtown, Pennsylvania.
Transportation for It's Your Call guests provided by Preferred Car and Limousine.
There's a look at the city Governor Ed Rendell served as mayor for 2 terms. That's Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. It is also the home of Comcast, as you see our beautiful building there. And you are watching the Comcast Network. I'm Lynn Doyle, and this is It's Your Call. It is Governor Ed Rendell who is my guest this half hour, and we're giving you an opportunity to ask him pretty much any question that you have on your mind about what's going on not only in Pennsylvania, but this region and, in fact, the country and the world. If you have questions or comments, you can email me at tcn_IYC@cable.comcast.com. It is a mouthful, I admit. Okay. We also gave you an opportunity when we were out on the streets of the region with our cameraman and asked what you'd like to ask the governor. So here's one of our curbside questions.
Hey, Gov, what kind of services are going to be cut because of your budget proposals?
Well, that's a good question, and
short and sweet.
virtually everything that we do, except for healthcare, education, and corrections, will receive a cut. Even economic development, which are my pride and joy, all these programs will receive cuts. But we were able to do it in such a way that I think the cuts will have a limited effect on the quality of people's lives. The big 3: healthcare, education, and corrections and state police, those remain uncut.
We do have a question from a resident of the city of Philadelphia regarding the judicial system, because there's been a lot of news about the proposed cut in budget to about $99 million. Now, reducing something to $99 million to me sounds like that's still a lot of money. But if in fact it means that court services and trial dates and the judicial system itself could come to a grinding halt, is it worth it?
Yeah, I don't think it does. I think there's natural, when anybody gets a cut, I've never heard anybody who said, cut me, or cut me more, cut my budget more. But I think it's going to require that the court system look at itself and find ways to cut out waste and enhance productivity. When I became mayor of the city of Philadelphia, Lynn, and the viewers from other states are not going to remember this at all, but we had a $250 million budget deficit on a $2.3 billion budget. Okay. And everyone said I had to raise taxes to get rid of it. I said, if I raise taxes, that's the death knell for the city, because we were already overtaxed. So I went about finding ways to cut, being more productive, and we cut out all $250 million in deficit without raising taxes. Now, the administration before me, the finance director, had testified in July, I took over in January, that they had cut every nickel of waste out of the budget. And yet, within a year, I found a way to cut $250 million each and every year. So the courts have to look at themselves, understand what's going on, cut the waste, cut the fat, and after they've done that, if they still have more money to go and they don't think they can cut any more, then they should go back to the mayor and city council and say, look, here's what we've cut.
Is there waste? Is there fat when it comes to the judicial system?
There's fat in everything that we do.